Hi, and welcome to 2018 and my first planner video, which means it's going to be very rough. But I spent an awful lot of time yesterday looking at planner videos, and I found some very useful stuff. But I seem to have been the only one out there using this system that I was using before that was working very well for me for a long time, by the way. But I am going to transition into the Hobonichi this year, and I hope it works better than this has been working for me for the past few months. So while I found a lot of cool ideas to do with the Hobonichi, kind of transitioning between the two, I'm going to kind of work through this way, and you guys can see my progress, I guess, or lack thereof. Hopefully there's progress. I'm very, very optimistic about there being progress. Anyway, so this is the planner that I have been using for a very long time. I've had it for years. As you can see, it's a little chewed up around the edges because I used to drag it everywhere despite how big it is. Look how big this thing is. This is crazy big. And these are smaller discs than I used to have on it. I know, crazy. I will miss this thing, this pretty little elastic ribbon thing that I have been using to hold it closed. I still find this very pretty. It's got like a little loop here if you wanted to put a pen. I have never used that little loop though because this has a pen loop, and this, because it's on the front, it just would catch. But it's very pretty. This I find it very pretty, and I still want to touch it. It is from Levenger. It is the Levetex, so it's not leather. It looks like leather, and that may be why it's getting a little chewed up down here, but I don't really think so. I think that it's just that I've abused it to death. However, it still has some life in it, and I am definitely going to repurpose it. And I have this little row of binder clips down here. I love these discs still. These are the Twilight discs. I don't think they sell them anymore, but you may be able to find them on eBay if you fall in love with them. But look how pretty. Oh my god, I still love these discs. I have the larger ones now on a notebook that I was using for an online class. But, so, again, not using this one this year. I'm still going to repurpose it though. So this was the monthly layout in the Levenger SmartPlanner system. For a long time this worked very, very well for me. In fact, for years I have been using this. Years ago, this part was orange. It's been this pretty blue for several years now. It's blue again in 2018. This is the 2017. I did buy the 2018 just as a backup plan in case, for whatever reason, the Hobonichi doesn't work for me. Because, like I said, I have been using this one for forever. I am not generally the kind of person to have a stack of planners. I've not been one who's been searching for planner piece. I had planner piece for a very long time with this one, and so when it was on sale, I went ahead and got the 2018 just in case. And like I said, the monthly works really well. These little blue sections work great for like dividing up appointments versus like other notes or trips or whatever. It's got all the holidays and everything in it. It's very convenient. I really liked the monthly section. In fact, I am probably going to take out the 2018 version and use it to put in all the holidays in the Hobonichi, since the Hobonichi holidays are in Japanese and Japan oriented. So, this, however, became the problem. This is the weekly section, the weekly layout, and for a long time it did work very well for me. This little tab here, I have been dragging from week to week for several years. It's why it's so chewed up. It's all frayed and faded. I covered it in some washi. I'm not generally a washi person. I bought some when it was on sale once because I thought it was pretty, and I have found very little use for it, other than this to try to salvage it for a little bit longer. Anyway, so this all-in-one weekly layout, again, worked really well for me for a long time. I could put in appointments or work schedules or anything that I needed to keep track of that was something I needed to do over here. And then this weekly to-do section worked really well for listing out like projects and tasks and stuff that I wanted to get done during the course of the week, and then just plugging it in whenever I had free time over here. And then this weekly goal section I tended to use to put down things that had to get done on a specific day. Things like renewals or bills or whatever that had to be done on that day, versus these goals that I could just kind of plug in when I got around to them. And then this note section down here, I used it a little bit for future planning. Sometimes I used it for jotting down notes, but I generally did not actually. This ended up being a lot of wasted space for me. But again, I used this for many, many years. I have my little Pilot pen that fit perfectly here. Look how pretty it is. It matches. But part of the problem has been how thick it is. This is just 2 months, November and December of last year. And look how thick it is. Now, all of this is not the monthly section though. If you can see those two little tabs here, it's hard to see. These two little tabs here on the front, that's actually where the months are. The rest of this is stuff that I felt compelled to carry around with me because I could, because of the disc-bound system. I had like a contact section in here, and like I had a section for notes on like a part-time job that I had, like templates for publishing schedules and goals and stuff for my writing. I had this other tab which under that was just random printouts and like different kinds of paper, just in case, which made this thing really, really heavy and kind of ridiculous, to be honest. I really didn't need all that stuff on a day-to-day basis, but it got to a point where I didn't know what else to do with it. Like I didn't necessarily want to take it out and put it in a different notebook because I had gotten used to it being here. And so maybe that was part of the problem. And definitely something I need to revisit if, for whatever reason, this Hobonichi system doesn't work and I come back to this. However, what was missing for me in a lot of ways was a time table. This time kind of scheduling here, that was clearly lacking in the SmartPlanner system. And for someone who uses like a phone to schedule out meetings and to block out time, then, or even someone who uses like a Pomodoro method, this would still work very, very well. It's also very pretty. The paper quality is fantastic, and it's very fountain pen friendly and it comes with these tabs. So if that sounds like something you're into, by all means, I highly recommend the SmartPlanner system. The months are like almost a cardboard. It's very good quality. The weeklies are still quite thick. Not quite as thick as the monthly, but still quite thick. It's nice and smooth. Like I said, it's very fountain pen friendly. There's very little bleed through no matter what you use. But it is thick. So I didn't generally keep like a whole year in here at a time. Which also, it made, like future appointments and future planning and stuff a little challenging because, the rest of the year is at home somewhere. On the days when I did carry it. So, that said, this year I bought the Hobonichi largely for this weekly section with the time layout, but also because I could get a daily section where I could do a lot more detailed kind of planning, and still have such a very thin little layout here, like footprint here. It is actually a little bit bigger, height-wise, than the old one, but it's so much thinner and it's more flexible because it's not stiff. So I think it'll be easier to carry this thing around. So I've started blocking off time in a way I saw in one of the other videos I saw, and I'm actually going to try out this for a week or so and see how it works. I'm also considering maybe, I saw several people use like little hash marks to block out time, and I'm considering doing that and then if I end up using that time the way I had planned to, kind of making it solid, and if I didn't, then I can color over it, and then I can see where I'm kind of losing time and gaining time, which has been part of my problem. Is like I've been having some issues with some time management. It tends to get away from me. And part of it is this chunk down here that is it a weird time of day to be working, and so I tend to have trouble balancing work and home, where I am sometimes at work when the husband is at home, and then I get home and I want to do stuff, but I'm also tired and he wants to hang out, and so I need to better manage my mornings until new things happen and all of this changes. But for now, I'm very hopeful that this will work. I have a little tab here for the daily, for the day that it is, even though it's got the little thingy, little tabby down here. For whatever reason, I can't seem to, even so far, get my mind wrapped around this thing. So I have the little green tab for the weekly layout. I have the pink tab for the this kind of time tracker thing here. I'm going to use this section for tracking habits. And I have an orange one somewhere, and I'm going to put that on the monthly, because right now I have this on the monthly, and again, I can't seem to wrap my brain around this versus this. So I think that's going to work out very well, and we'll see if it does work out. And if it doesn't, then I'll be back to tell you about how it didn't and what I'm trying differently. Until then, have a great week.